Okay, I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:16 p.m. Roll call, Tom Barney, absent excused. Eric Brown.
Here.
Michael Loth, I am here, and I believe we will have Russ Ewert substituting for Tom Barney.
Here.
Pretty good. Agenda revisions and approval.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Motion by Russ Ewert, second by Eric Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 4, approval of minutes. Approval of the April 28th, 2025 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second, and I was present for that.
Okay. Motion by Eric Brown, second by Russ Ewert, and he was present for that meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. That motion carries. Item 5, consent review and discuss. Item A, May vouchers. And I know there was at least one question, I'm seeing two, and I really appreciate these smaller stage speakers because I can actually see Brittany.
Yeah, it's nice. I just noticed that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yes, I received two questions. The first one was regarding a credit card purchase on the high school principal's credit card. It was for 4 maps, so 2 North American maps, 1 European map, and 1 Geo World with topographical features maps, and they're very large maps that are now in the classrooms. So.
Okay, very good. Yeah, that was my question. I didn't know if they were books. It didn't say books, maps. You know, I'm just like, hey, what's that? So, thank you.
Yep. The other question I received was regarding a purchase for Suburban Arts Collective LLC for $1,500. This was for the general music concert that Rockfield Elementary School had recently. The cost was for the 2 concerts, one at 5:45 and one at 7 p.m., and then 2 rehearsals for the students to practice with the 3-piece band.
What was the cost on that one again?
$1,500.
Oh, okay. All right, I guess that does it for the questions. I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent to payment vouchers as presented and reviewed.
Second.
Okay, motion by Eric Brown, second by Russ Ewert. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Next, I don't see any reports and updates. I believe the variance report was foregone because we got a kind of a big night here as it is, right?
It's because the April meeting was later in the month and this one's pushed earlier, so there was minimal information that would have changed, so I'll just proceed next month.
Okay, yep, very good. All right, and next item, new business 7A, other post-employment benefit trust creation. And we have Brittany Altendorf for that, please.
Tonight I'm coming to the Finance Committee and then the full board for our next step regarding our OPEB trust. Back in April 2024, the district revamped their post-employment benefits or their retiree benefits. There was a group of employees that were grandfathered into the current plan, which is a health benefit. And then starting in 2029, anybody that retires as of July 1st, 2029, I believe, would be part of the new plan, which is a contribution into an HSA. With that, currently the district budgets.
HRA, is it?
Oh, sorry, you are correct. I apologize.
Yeah, that's what the material says. Just wanted to make sure it was right.
Currently, the district budgets annually based on who is planning on to retiring and what benefit that they're having. So the amount could go up and down based on the number of people that are retiring and the number of people that turn 65 and go off of the plan. So it's not, the plan that we have moving forward would allow us to fund it ahead of time, knowing that we have an unfunded liability, and to be able to fund smaller portions of that unfunded liability annually, to be able to have the money when said people retire and when deposits have to be made. So we did change the plan back in April of '24. And then we have to have a trust created, which basically states that money put in there has to be spent on retirement benefits. We can't use the funds for anything else. So we worked with our attorneys to create the trust documents, and if it's approved by the board tonight, then we will start working on creating the actual trust to deposit funds in. We do have $300,000 designated in fund balance. As of the end of last fiscal year, we do plan on funding it again this year. We don't have it necessarily in the budget, so it would be based on if there's funds available at the end of the year. If we could fund it moving forward, we would plan to have money placed in the budget for it, so we can make sure that we are funding it appropriately.
Okay. Hey, as long as we're in the HRA area, I had a question. When it comes to teachers and then administrators, under teachers, there's an $1,100 number there. I think that's the sheet you were just on, maybe. It's the one that's got some color on it. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, so the $1,100 and then the $1,320 that's listed here, is that during retirement that the teachers or the administrators would receive? Are those numbers they would receive in retirement, or are these the numbers that we're funding in advance?
Yes, so we base the funding off of these numbers so that money's available at retirement.
Okay.
So-
Okay, I wasn't, when I was reading this, wasn't 100% sure what I was looking at. Maybe it's clear and I just didn't get it, but, so this is what you're gonna fund, you're intending to fund now?
Correct,
For the
so
year.
then they can get paid out what they've earned at retirement over a, I believe, a 6-year period.
Yeah, and where does that 6 years come from? Because retirement's possible at 57 and they would keep this
Yeah.
benefit? And-
It's our
It's a-
current benefit that we have, so it's a 6-year, but it's prorated up to Medicare. So if you retire after 57, it's a prorated amount.
Okay, so you actually have to work until 59 to get it till?
57 is, per the handbook,
Yep.
retirement eligible, but let's say you work till 60, you get a prorated amount regarding this, similar to our current retirement benefit for insurance.
Right, right. But you could retire at 59 and
57,
collect it for 6 years?
correct.
Okay, that was my question. So the 6-year number I didn't quite understand.
Sure, it's a max of 6 years, so you would still receive the same dollar amount, I believe, and Mr. Nowak is here, and he's the one that presented this to the board, so he might have some more information. But I believe that you'd still get the same amount of money because it's the money you're earning every year while you're working. So that, I believe the amount would be the same,
Okay, so
but he will be able to add to it.
Mr. Reuter or Mr. Nowak, when you say prorated, if you only collected for 5 years, you'd actually get more than if you collected for 6 years? Is that what you're saying?
With the
Just the
HRA.
opposite. Yeah. Are we talking tier 2 or?
Tier two.
Tier 2.
Tier 2, if you would retire later, you would collect less. So let's say, for
Okay.
example, you're 61, you would receive the benefit for 4 years,
Okay.
which monetarily would be less than if it was age 60, 59, 58, 57, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Similar to the same way our current benefit for those under the insurance post-retirement.
Okay.
The longer you work post-57, the less of a benefit you receive from the district.
Okay, very good. I think it was about a year ago that we approved this, and I just needed a little refresher in it. And it probably helps our newest board member also a little bit to hear about this. Okay, I've got it, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go right ahead.
That's
Do you
all I
any-
have unless,
Do you have any more? Oh, that's it?
unless you have questions, I'd be happy to answer other questions. Otherwise, it's just creating, giving us permission to create the trust and then the trustees, which will be listed
okay.
on the legal document.
Okay, and so then, all right, I'll just go on. So tier 3 then,
Oh.
the 90,000 or the 120,000, that's what's intended to be available at the time of retirement
Correct.
for the teachers? Okay, so tier 2 and tier 3 are working a little bit differently then, so you could see my confusion or any citizen out there that might be confused by it. Next question I had then, and I think you've answered it, but I just wanted to make sure, will the trust fund also show up in our fund balance? And I
Yes.
think right now it is, but down the road, I don't think it should. Am I right on that?
Correct. It will show up in a Fund 73 fund balance. So
Yes.
it won't show up in the lump sum of the total fund balance. It will be in a different area. So it wouldn't be a total, like, when we have the larger fund balance in our general fund, but then we also have a fund balance in capital improvements, it would be in its own separate category. So you wouldn't see it in the general fund balance.
right.
It currently is now, yes.
I wouldn't want to inflate our fund balance because we ultimately have quite a few dollars in this Fund 73. And I think from reading all the material, that's what I got out of it, but I just wanted to make sure.
Right, so it's currently inflating it by $300,000, which will be moved prior to the end of this school year if this is approved. And then moving forward, any funds we move over to it won't show up in that general fund balance moving
Okay.
forward. So yes, you're correct.
Just a couple of other questions. I think this, I read through all this lawyer lingo, as I call it, which is difficult for an engineer to read. But anyway, I did my best and had to read many of the paragraphs twice to have an idea what I was reading. This one's maybe a little bit nitpicky on my part, but on page 2 of 3, number 6, so this is the first part of the lawyer lingo, and then there's a second part. So this is the part that creates the trust, right? And it says, a district director of business and auxiliary services or her delegates. So I believe that the her there refers to you, and I hope you're here for a great many number of years until you decide to retire. But I don't know that
Her?
I don't know that we should assign a gender to that, because someday you are gonna retire and, you could be replaced with a male
I agree.
rather than a her. So I think we covered it with the district's director of business. So I don't know, I think we should maybe, yeah.
Or there.
I think you would just put the title or designee or delegates instead of
Use the
putting,
title.
I'm sorry.
Just use the title?
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll, can we modify that with relative ease? This was written by our lawyer, I think, or?
Correct.
Okay.
I can give that suggestion. I don't think they'd have a issue adjusting that.
Okay, so when we make the motion, we'll add this. Page 2 of 3, item 6. And we'll say, I don't know how to say it, / her.
Remove.
Remove her, okay. And then, let me just page through my notes here. I imagine you could do this on a PDF file too, except I'd rather just have my notes. Okay, I think I'm in the next section now. Were you gonna go through the next section, or are you done?
No, I'm done. You can
Okay.
ask questions.
So now I'm in the next section, so it's sheet 5 of 9. And it's item G, maintain multiple accounts. Trustee may, in its discretion or at the discretion of the district, maintain separate accounts to hold the assets in the trust. Trustee may prepare separate statements for each separate account. So my only question here is, are we talking about another fund besides Fund 73, or if there's separate accounts, is that all under Fund 73?
It's all under Fund 73. I believe this states that within the trust, you can put it into different accounts,
Separate
separating it if you'd like, but it all would be in the one trust,
Okay.
overarching trust.
Okay, very
But it
good.
would all be in our accounting system under Fund 73.
Okay, I was hoping it wouldn't include more accounts because, as you know, I don't try and memorize them, but they do come up now and then, so we need to know. And then, just another general question, page 6 of 9, item 5B as in boy, the very last sentence says, any taxes of any kind levied or assessed upon the assets or income of the trust shall be paid by the trustee from the assets of the trust. I didn't highlight it, but previously, it was kind of mentioned that the trust fund wouldn't be taxed based on some federal statute or something. So is there a possibility of taxes, or is this just a generic statement in case?
There would be no taxes, and if there's fees connected to like having the trust, it would pay for that, but I don't think there are connected to the trust.
In several places, it talked about no taxes based on federal statute or something.
Right.
And I didn't note where that was, but when I read this on taxes, it was kind of a, well, okay, but I thought this was gonna be a tax-free trust.
It is, because
Okay,
the school
very
district
good.
doesn't pay taxes.
Okay, and the last thing I've got, I haven't asked about it lately, but I believe we have our referendum final report posted somewhere on the finance portion of the website. I don't know if it's disappeared over time, hopefully not, but hopefully it's there somewhere. So my question is, will the document or documents that we're approving tonight, if it passes, will these be posted in the same area as the referendum summary report? Because I think over time, these could disappear into the ether, and no one will know where to find them or where to look for them.
They can be posted on the district's website if you'd like, because that's where the referendum documents are
Right.
posted. I don't know if that's fine, we can post this legal document on there. It will be with the trust company, so they will have a copy of the legal documents, but
And
if the
it's-
board would like the legal document on our website, we could do that.
Yeah, and it's always public record as well.
Correct.
Yeah, it's not, it's nothing, there's nothing to be hidden here, it's public record.
Yep.
And I think it'd be nice for citizens or future board members to be able to find them if they need to, because this is a big deal. This goes well into the future, beyond any of us sitting here, unless it's changed.
Right.
But, just like the referendum, there were rumors that went around about the referendum that just plain weren't true. And I see this as being a big enough issue for the district that rumors could start flying, and we can say, no, everything's posted, we didn't do anything under the table, it's all on the up and up, and basically it was everything that we talked about and approved a year ago, and that's why this is occurring now. You know, there's no sense in rehashing everything we talked about a year ago, but I'd like to see, you know, these two sections posted, you know, if they're approved later this evening.
Sure, I'll work with the superintendent's office to decide where would be the appropriate place. I don't know if it would be finance, or I don't know if the HR department has I mean, it's regarding benefits, so we can come up
So
with the,
maybe personnel, at a certain point in time, I sort of grabbed this for finance because of the dollar amount. And, you know, many years ago, it seemed like personnel didn't want to touch it. I don't know if that was before Mike's time or not, so that's not anything against Mr. Nowak here. But I sort of pulled it into finance and took charge of it, you might say, because somebody had to. So, yeah, I think maybe now that you mention it, it's really a personnel issue rather than finance. We've just got it the last go-around at it, I think, right? It came
Right.
to us from personnel. So, yeah, maybe it's under the personnel page that we would put it.
I mean, and we can put it in both places too. This document will not change, so.
Right.
It's not like if it changes, we'd forget to take it out of one place or the other, so we could put it in both too, but we can decide on that and we'll let the board know where it was placed.
Okay. Well, take a motion if someone wants to. And,
I'll make a motion to approve with a positive recommendation to the Finance Committee to the full board for the creation and funding of a trust and the appointment of trustees to hold funds segregated for the payment of all or a portion of the district's post-employment benefit plan obligations, with the amendment to page 2, item 6, removing the word "her."
Second.
okay. Any further discussion?
Is this the last action we have to take to ensure that everything we decided last year is now memorialized and move forward?
Correct.
Okay. Good, I'm glad to see this finally kind of wrap up. I know there's a lot that goes into this side of it. So thanks for taking care of that on both ends, Mike and Brittany.
Yep, you're welcome.
This is going to be a good thing for the district and the staff moving forward. We'll continue to review this side of the compensation model and plan, so it's kind of the first step in that, so thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Okay. Next item is 7B, monthly purchase requests exceeding $15,000 and purchasing / project bid results. We have 7B.1, and this is Jill Seefeld, Food and Nutrition.
Yes. The food service is requesting approval to purchase 28 new cafeteria tables and not to exceed the purchase price of $75,396.20. This will be funded from the 25-26 school year budget using excess food service funds. The cafeteria tables at MacArthur Elementary are over 20-plus years old and are not in good working condition, as many of the spring releases do not function properly anymore. This potentially could cause an employee workplace injury. These tables are extremely heavy, and they're very hard to lift at times. So Once again, just looking at replacing those tables. So the plan is to take the current tables that are in use at Kennedy Middle School and transfer them to MacArthur Elementary. The new tables that I'm looking to purchase will be delivered and installed at Kennedy Middle School before the start of the school year. Any questions that you have?
Okay. Well, I take it the ones from the middle school are better than the ones at MacArthur then?
They are currently about 3 years old, so they're in much better condition. So we're going to be getting rid of the ones at MacArthur and replacing them with the ones at Kennedy.
Oh, the same brand, or, I'm a little confused now.
Well,
The initial ones that you spoke about were the ones that are heavy and their springs are broken, and those are the ones that are at MacArthur.
Okay,
We're removing those. We are then taking Kennedy Middle Schools, which are 3 years old, and removing them to MacArthur, and then purchasing new ones for Kennedy.
okay. I guess I didn't read this quite.
sorry
right
about
then.
that.
That's okay.
It is confusing.
I guess now's the best time to go into it. Brittany's pretty good at ordering parts for these. She knows how to fix them. I'm just kidding. You knew that was coming, didn't you?
You're not kidding, she does know how to fix it.
Yeah, because it happened before. All right, well, we gotta make, finance fun somehow. I'll take a motion.
Motion to bring forward to the Board of Education with the positive recommendation for the from the Finance Committee to approve the purchase for Kennedy Middle School cafeteria tables as presented and described using Hackerson to, I think it's supposed to say not to exceed $75,396.20 unless electrical cord violations are discovered during install.
That is leftovers from a previous,
Yeah,
that's a cut and
I was
paste
gonna say,
error.
that's not part of mine.
I'm thinking we don't need the electrical cords.
We will put a period after the price.
Price and end it there is my motion.
Make
That's-
sure not.
yeah.
All right, and we'll get a knot in there.
$1 sign.
I hate it when that happens. It's easy to do in engineering also. Cut and paste errors. All right. Do I have a second on that?
I will second.
Okay, motion by Russ Ewart, second by Eric Brown. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next item is 7B.2. Katie Cole, Director of Pupil Services, please.
Hi, tonight I'm bringing you the CISA contract for the 25-26 school year. Just a little bit about this. There's a basic membership fee, which is included, that gives staff access to some of the networks that they offer. One of those is one that I go to that is for the special education directors. So that fee includes some of those networks, and then it also gives us access to other professional development, special education and non-special education. Along with that, there are some alternative placements for students. There's one seat at Turning Point. That last year was a seat at Distinguished Scholars. They've changed that at CISA. So that's really the same seat. It just has a different name, in case you noticed that. And then there are two Ozaki Community High School seats, which we currently have in use and will anticipate needing those next year. And then finally, the audiology services that we use for students are included in this contract as well. That's a projected amount as it's driven by IEP teams, but we're using what we know based on the current IEPs that we have for our students. Things that were previously in here, you'll notice the vision and orientation and mobility are not in here. I brought last month those services being provided by a different company, and that's why those are removed. Just so you understand that we are still providing those services, but they're not through CISA 1 for next year.
Okay. Maybe, I just have a couple questions. There might not be an answer for these. I've read through these contracts before, and every time you read them, you can see something different, so that's what I think has happened here. Item number 10 on page 2 of 4, maybe this is how it's always been. It seems odd that we're providing the insurance, liability insurance for CISA employees. You know, that's how I'm reading this. It just seems, maybe it's occurred before and I just haven't noticed it, but.
Yeah, I read it as that we're the service recipients, and it says that we shall maintain and carry insurance. I thought that meant like that we have it for our district as they're providing the services within our district, but I guess that might be a better question for, I don't know if Brittany has anything on that one. Yeah? Yeah.
So we are providing it for their,
But-
We
Not
have to
for
be
them.
insured as a district.
Correct.
That's what they're asking.
okay, I don't know if.
They're doing the services on our site, so it says that we have our own insurance, our district's insured, as they're providing those services on our premises.
Correct.
Okay, so we're not necessarily providing liability insurance for their employees?
No.
Because I would think that they've got their own insurance on their own employees.
Sure they do, but I would assume this is an
Right,
umbrella
and-
that would cover them doing work on our, so if they're a contracted employee at that point, they step on our grounds to conduct this.
Yep.
So we need to be insured for anything they would potentially do.
And
In
if
the
you-
off chance they chose not to.
Correct, and if you read into the second page, 3 of 4, it says, in at least the minimum amount required by law. So we have a legal obligation to hold insurance when it comes to workers' comp and liability.
They just won't come and do the training unless we can prove we have it.
Correct.
Okay,
But I kind of, when I was reading it, had that same, wait a minute.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
what's
then-
going on here? Okay, and then, I don't know, I thought I'm not sure if I have a question. Item 11, the whole paragraph's in capitals, and I'm not sure if that's because this is the most important paragraph of the contract, or what is going on here. So I think they're saying they're not liable for anything, no matter what happens.
Yeah, it's basically just saying that they're not, I think it's basically just saying that they're not that they're not liable for anything, but if anything happens on our property that we should be liable for, that they're not gonna cover it. They have to have liability insurance. They have work comp insurance, so their employees being on our property with our students, our work comp doesn't cover them, but we have to have liability insurance to cover them being on our property with our students.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know why it's capitalized. I didn't, we can follow up with them on why it's a capitalized part and
Yeah,
let you know.
it was kind of odd. It's kind of a,
Someone hit cap locks maybe when there's.
it could be cut and paste error. Who knows, but
Yeah,
it's like,
unique, yeah.
yeah, it just came across as kind of odd, what's so important about this one, but that's fine. Yeah, it might be worth asking them, hey, did you really intend to make this all,
Scream at us.
yeah, scream at us?
I think that's more legal stuff that you don't like reading.
Right.
Just kidding.
Yeah, and this upon the OPEB legal reading is a tough finance committee meeting here.
I think it's boilerplate language, to be honest, because it says that they're not responsible if we lose revenue, if we lose profit from, I think it's boilerplate information that they put in here, but we can get more information if you'd like on that paragraph.
Yeah, maybe just ask them, you could probably email the answer or bring it to the next finance committee meeting. And also, yeah, the other question I didn't have written down here, is this contract all CISA or is it ours?
It's CISA 1, I believe.
Yeah, this is all services that we obtain from CISA 1.
So everything that's written here came from CISA 1,
Correct.
and has our legal counsel reviewed it, or?
They haven't, but this is a standard contract with all CISA 1 districts. I think to Ms. Cole's point, you see the specifics in item 2, 3, and 4 regarding student need. I just elaborate on, as Mrs. Cole stated, in CISA 1 membership. That includes networking and monthly meetings and professional development for Mrs. Cole and the pupil service department, Mr. Miziak, and teaching and learning, and myself, with Area 1 superintendents, where I sit on the steering commission. So $1,800 for 3 administrators to be part of professional development monthly, as well as voice and input into educational process is a very good deal.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you. And I will take a motion.
Motion to bring forward to the full board with positive recommendation from the Finance Committee, the CISA 1 contract for the 25-26 school year not to exceed $125,000 and funded out of the flow-through special education budget.
I will second.
Okay. Motion by Russ Ewart, second by Eric Brown. Any further discussion? I see none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Okay, next item. Thank you. Next item. 7B.3. Nick Kleinhofer, please.
This proposal is for the second part of our two-part copy center press machine refresh project. This is going to finally replace the 8-year-old large machine we have, and that will complete that project. The one we put in a couple months ago has been working great, and we can't wait to get rid of the old one with another of the same we just put in.
How soon is this one coming? And is it gonna come in after July 1st, or?
We're actually planning, yes, it's gonna come in after July 1st. The reason being, there's a monthly maintenance agreement for the machine. So it didn't really make sense to put it in now and be essentially paying for 2 to 3 months with little usage for that minimum maintenance agreement.
Okay. I thought it was also to spread this over 2 school years, if I remember right, when we did the last go-around. It just wasn't clear to me for sure when it was coming in.
Yeah, the vendor is, once we give them the go-ahead, if this is approved, they are going to actually store the machine in their warehouse in the near future and hold it for us until installation in August.
In August, okay.
Yep.
All right, very good. I will take a motion.
Motion to bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to purchase the second and final Konica 2100 for $34,347.15.
Second.
Okay, motion by Eric Brown, second by Russ Ewart. Any further discussion?
Just thanks for all the information that's provided in this proposal. Made it very easy to understand what was being asked.
Very good. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Next item. Seven B 4, 2025-2026 laptop release refresh. Nick Kleinhofer, please.
This proposal is to replace the majority of GSD's staff laptops and a student laptop here at GHS. The existing laptops are 5 years old, and so this is essentially a routine refresh project for those devices.
Okay, very good. I will take a motion.
I'll bring forward to the full board with positive recommendation to lease purchase laptops from SHI and finance the lease purchasing through a 5-year lease agreement with First American in an amount not to exceed $423,719.85 with an annual P&I payment of $84,743.97 as presented and charged to the appropriate capitalization and lease accounts in the general fund.
I will second.
Okay, motion by Russ Ewert, second by Eric Brown. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Next item. 2025-2026 Chromebooks lease refresh, item 7D.5. Nick Kleinhofer again.
This proposal is similar to the last. This is going to refresh the Chromebooks for this coming school year. The 650 CR11 Chromebooks are going to go to 5th and 9th graders. And then this lease is also going to include 14-inch screen Chromebooks, which are a little bit larger than our standard. Those are being used by reading aides who use a piece of software that is difficult to see on the standard 11-inch screen.
Do you think these will be standard from here and out then?
Personally, I would like to see that at some point. It generally comes down to cost, so I don't know if we'll ever actually get there.
Okay. Very good. I will take a motion.
Make a motion to bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation to lease purchase Chromebooks from BDJ Tech and finance these lease purchase through a 4-year lease agreement with First American in an amount not to exceed $195,055.40 with an annual P&I payment of $48,763.85 as presented and charged to the appropriate capitalization and lease accounts in the general fund.
Second with discussion.
Okay, motion by Eric Brown, second by Russ Ewert. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes,
Just
Russ.
a couple of questions asked for a little leeway here. We received, and the community as a whole received, an update from, I believe, the middle school and high school regarding some issues with Chromebooks and lead pencils and charging ports or some port on there, some TikTok, great little video that was made and now is a national trend. In this lease, are we protected at all from that type of damage, or are we insured at all within the district other than, and this might be a Brittany question?
I do know these Asus Chromebooks we're purchasing will come with a 1-year accidental damage policy standard. Normally, we're not paying extra for extended accidental damage. We've found over the years that it's cheaper for us to just buy and replace the parts as needed instead of paying ahead for the warranty. I know that some vendors with that particular issue going around, if they can prove that it was malicious damage, they may not cover it under accidental damage. So with this one, I would say it's kind of a roll of the dice. Most likely, if we had one and send it in, I think they would cover it unless it was egregious.
Sure.
And on that topic, I would say we did see quite a few of those about 2 weeks ago. We had messages sent home by some of our principals, and that issue has curtailed significantly at this point. We're not seeing many of them anymore.
And just a little more grace on that then, just because you brought it up. What type of documentation is going into that, and what type of continued investigation would be, I guess, pursued, considering the value of these would probably lead to some sort of criminal damage issue in a legal sense?
Yep, we log every repair we do. And so once we started noticing this one, we noticed a few signs where we can usually tell that that's what happened. The symptom usually is the student comes to us and says, my Chromebook doesn't turn on. And so in the past few weeks, the kind of knee-jerk reaction is, we're just using the slang term graphiting. So it's like, we'll usually ask them, did you graphite it? Sometimes it's a yes or no. But we are documenting all those cases. If they admit to it or we can tell for sure that that's what happened, we're creating a discipline report in Skyward for it. So far, most of them we've been able to fix, so we didn't actually have to replace any parts. But even with that, we're still logging those because we don't know if like a year from now, those ones they have suffered some damage that's gonna cause them to fail. So we are tracking all of those and we'll keep an eye on that.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Russ. It wasn't quite the discussion I was expecting, but understandable. Okay, any further discussion?
No.
I see none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Next item is 2025-2026 FortiGate Firewall Refresh. That's item 7B.6. Nick Kleinhofer, please.
GSD is currently utilizing a FortiGate 1500D firewall, which was purchased in 2018. This firewall handles internet security and filtering for the entire school district. This unit is now on long-term support until December 2026, which means it cannot receive the very latest updates, which is a security concern. Due to the older version of the software, this firewall is no longer able to properly support the newest internet protocols, and we've already been seeing trouble caused by that. The current unit has had a strong 7-year run, but it's time to upgrade before it becomes a liability. The new model would be a FortiGate 900G. Installing that comprises of 3 pieces. It's purchasing the firewall hardware itself. That will come with a 1-year subscription for the security updates. And then we will have to have a vendor install and migrate our old firewall to the new one. And the third part is something the vendor requires. It's a Qualys vulnerability scan. So once they have completed the migration to the new firewall, what they're going to do is point a security tool from the outside world at our firewall and make sure that it's secure and nothing is getting through it. This purchase is E-rate eligible. Normally, E-rate is 40% on hardware. The 1-year security UTP bundle, they cover at a lower percentage, 11% instead of 40%. And if this is approved, I'll let the vendor know right away. We'll get working on it. The new hardware would come in August and be ready for the new school year.
Okay, very good. As we know, security is very important in this part of the school system. I will take a motion.
Motion to bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to purchase the replacement firewall and installation services. It says for $39,620. Should it read not to exceed?
Yes.
Not to exceed $39,620. I just want to make sure it doesn't cause you a problem on the financial side.
I will second.
Okay, I got that. Motion by Russ Ewert, second by Eric Brown. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. And I will take one last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion by Russ Ewert, second by Eric Brown. Any discussion? Motion to adjourn, that is. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries, and we are adjourned at 7:06 PM. Thank you.